In this video, we're going to go over the different formulas for calculating a standard error, and we're going to practice using them. So there's actually two main formulas that I'm showing you on this page right here. And the first one is for a sample mean, and the second one is for a sample proportion. So the formula that you use depends on what's being calculated, if it's a mean or a proportion. The formula for standard error of a sample mean is the sigma, or population standard deviation, divided by the square root of n, which is sample size. And this is the symbol for standard error of a sample mean, which I've actually already shown you before in some of my other videos. So here it is again. The formula for standard error of a sample proportion is p times 1 minus p divided by n. P is the population proportion, and n is the sample size. And the symbol for standard error of a sample proportion is sigma p hat. So instead of it being sigma x bar, it's sigma p hat, because remember, x bar is sample mean, p hat is sample proportion. So I think everyone understands what a mean or an average is, but I just want to quickly review what a proportion is. So in statistics, a proportion is a percentage written as a decimal. So if you take 75% and you turn it to 0.75, that's a proportion. So let's imagine that a certain class is 45% male. If you take 45% and turn it to 0.45, the 0.45 is a proportion. So it's just a percent written as a decimal. And notice up here how it says for when the sample isn't more than 5% of the population. So these formulas actually change when the sample is more than 5% of the population. When the sample is more than 5% of the population, you have to put something at the end of the formula, and I'll show it to you. So when the sample is more than 5% of the population, when the sample takes up more than 5% of the population, you take the same formula, but you add this, you include this extra piece right here, which is the square root of n, capital N minus little n, over capital N minus 1. This is the correction that you have to use when the sample is more than 5% of the population. So notice how these two formulas are the same as they were before, but it's just multiplied by this extra piece right here, this correction. So capital N is population size, little n is sample size. So we have four different situations that we'll be practicing. We have sample mean and sample proportion, and we have more than 5% of the population and not more than 5% of the population.